doesn't work. Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to our presentation today. We are from a Swedish company called Candela, and we specialize in producing electric and hydrofoiling boats and ferries. Or in another word, you can call us a flying boat and ferry company. And we are now currently having our ferry in public transport in Stockholm, and we are also planning to deliver our solution to several projects across the world, including NEOM project in Saudi Arabia. We have Meridian in New Zealand and Lake Tahoe in the US. And also here in Berlin, we are delivering also the boat as a public transport as well, together with Fanghaus, and we are expected to see the boat coming here in approximately a year from now. So here in the picture, you can see as well that we are having this boat coming to Berlin. Right, so we are here today at ITB Berlin to talk about how we redefine luxury and sustainability in hospitality transport. And we will show you everything about our technology that will allow you as an operator to achieve low cost and high return by cutting up to 85% operating expenses, whether it be fuel cost, maintenance cost, or energy cost. Also to deliver unmatched comfort and also enhancing passenger experience. So you're flying above the wave and you're gliding with silent and smooth, as well as eliminating all the seasickness. And as we are 100% electric, which means we are delivering zero emission and also minimal carbon footprint. With our hydrofoil technology, we also create zero wake to protect shoreline erosion and our beautiful marine ecosystem. And my name is Patra. I'm taking care of Asia Pacific market, and today the presentation will be carried out by my dear colleague Todd, who take care of the European market, and Michael, who is our PR manager. So I will hand over the stage to you guys.
And then I have my colleague Michael here as well. When you want to do something electric on water, the challenge that we are approaching is if you want to go with some sort of a speed, that is difficult on water. If you're comparing a 25-foot day cruiser, it consumes 15 times the energy of a large-sized cars. And then we have the challenge with the energy density in batteries, and that's kind of poor still. So it's 1/15. And here we're trying to build boats that goes on electricity, battery-powered boats. So how we're doing that, I will show you that with a short video. Comparing two similar-sized vessels, both are roughly 12 meter, roughly 30 passengers vessels, going side by side in 25 knots. And this is outside our head office in Stockholm, where we've done this trial. And what I want you to look at here is the amount of water we're not moving with our boat comparison to the normal ferry. So this is really how we're making sure that we are more efficient and effective. We're not moving water around, we use the power to drive the vessel forward. And by this technology, by lifting the boat up of the water and flying above it, we're reducing the energy consumptions with up to 90% compared to a traditional vessel. Our purpose is to speed up transition to the fossil fuel-free lakes and oceans, and doing that with our vessels. And with that, I will hand over to you, Michael.
Thank you. So Candela is currently celebrating its 10-year anniversary this year. So we started back in 2014. Our founder, Gustav Hasselskog, at the time he was having a summer house in the archipelago, and he had a 25-foot day cruiser which ran on petrol fuel with a big V8 engine. And then he realized that the bills for just going to the local fuel dock and buy ice cream for his kids was a lot higher than the yearly bill for his gasoline car. So he realized that the energy consumption of fast vessels is extremely high compared to any other mode of transportation, really. And in order to make a good electric boat, you need to cut down that energy consumption. And that's why he came up with the idea of using hydrofoiling, which is a almost 100-year-old piece of tech to reduce that energy consumption. So when the boat is flying, below the surface there are two sets of wings that generate lift. And he realized that you can use modern computing power to make an electric vessel with the 100-year-old technology of hydrofoils, and then you can stabilize the craft. So once it's flying, it's actually being stabilized by moving the hydrofoils 100 times per second. And so he got a prototype working in 2016 with a small team, and then we put the first boat in serial production, which is the boat you see here to your left, the C7, in 2019, and we built 30 vessels in total, 32, and sold them to 10 countries. And with the money we got from that and some additional VC funding, we sped up the R&D process and launched our own electric drivetrain, which is the Candela C8, which is C-Pod, which you see here. It's a fully submerged motor, so all the moving parts are under the water. There's no transmission, so it's totally silent. And this drivetrain was fitted to the C8, which is the larger leisure boat, which we launched in 2022. We've now sold 100 boats of that one, delivered around 70. And we're now moving into the next stage, which is public transport. So with the P12 ferry that you see here. So this one is currently in use in Stockholm's public transport, and it's also coming to Berlin. It will operate on the Spree, operated by Funkhaus, which is a venue for concerts and such. And we're also marketing this to the hospitality industry, which we have done so very successfully by selling around 20 vessels to, among others, NEOM, the great Saudi infrastructure project in New Zealand, to Lake Tahoe and other places. Yeah.
Okay, so when we claim that we have a revolutionary technology, and going through those point by point, we claim, since we're running on battery electric vessels, that we are zero emission, no local emissions, and we don't pollute the air with any oil or anything. We don't even have oil on our vessels. And it's much quieter as well, so less noise underwater. And since we're foiling, we're flying above the water. We're not really creating any wakes, as you saw in the movie that I started with. So less erosion on the shorelines. And by flying, as I mentioned, we're reducing the energy consumption as well. So we're cutting the energy consumption quite big. And that means in money, we use less money for operation, less money for fuel. And also an electric motor is quite simple in technology, so you don't really need to service that much. So we have a big saving in both the maintenance, but due to the design of our vessel, and it's quite light and nimble, we don't need to have a very heavy installation for the jetties or the infrastructure where we go. And when it comes to the experience when you're riding on the boat, it's quiet, it's electric, it's fairly quick. Our cruising speed is 25 knots, 47 kilometers per hour, and we're flying above the waves, so we don't get the slamming by the waves. So our core of our technology, it's three-part. We have our electrical motor that Michael explained before. Then, of course, we have our wings, the wings beneath the water that we're using. And then we have an active flight controller system, because this is actually more like flying an airplane than driving a boat. So we have active wings that we're controlling both the roll, the pitch, and how the boat is behaving. And we do that by having radar sensors in the front of the boat, measuring the waves that we're hitting, and then we can react on that in the control system. But as Michael mentioned, we have a project in Stockholm. It's a kind of a proof of concept project that we are running with the city of Stockholm, the region of Stockholm, and the Swedish traffic authority, and then we have an operator that is Transdev that is running this. So it's been a 4-year project, and the key thing for us in this project, that was the last part of the project was real life proof that it works in a real life. So from the city of Stockholm, we got the opportunity to run on an existing route. So it's called Route 89, and it's a typical work commuter trip. And the current boats, they travel this distance in 45 to 55 minutes, and we've been able to do it in about 30 minutes. So we're cutting quite some time by flying. And we actually got a permit to break the speed limit within the city of Stockholm as well. So we're coming in and are allowed to go 22 knots all the way into the city hall in Stockholm. And showing a bit on how it looks on this one. And here, I think the movie is working quite well here. So this is the boat taking off. And we take off in a speed of 18 knots, more or less, but then we fly stable at around 20 knots. And all the time having the active wings that react to what's coming in the water in front of us. So as you see here, we're lifting the complete boat out of the water. The boat is made of carbon fiber. It's our own manufacturing. And we manufacture the boats in Stockholm at the moment. So this is the boat on the line between the suburb of Ekerö going into the city of Stockholm. And as you see here on the movies, we're coming into the city center, and shortly we will arrive to the charging point. So you can see that we're using a normal charging point. We're coming into the city hall of Stockholm, where the Nobel Prize and so on are. And next to it, we have a charging point for our vessel that we will start to enter. We open up the hatch going in, and there on the docks we have a charging point. And it's basically a normal fast charger for a car. And we use the CCS Type 2 connector, but we're using both cables, because we have a dual drivetrain. So meaning we have a separate battery and motor per side for redundancy reasons. And here is the pickup point in the city center where we can pick up people. And the capacity of this boat, this specific one, is 26 people, 1 wheelchair and 3 bikes. But we have different layouts of it, so we can manage up to 30 people. With that, I will move on. And on this route, we are running our boat called Nova next to the traditional one. So we're running in parallel with the existing traffic, which is good, because then we can actually compare the data between these two ferries. So Lux is built 2019. It's a fairly modern, but a traditional ferry with a 190 passenger ferry. Our boat takes 26 people, so this is quite a bit of a difference in size, but we do the travel in half the time. So we're not that small in that sense. But when we start to compare these vessels, if we start looking on the carbon footprint per commute, per passenger. So going one way with Lux, the traditional ferry, versus Nova, we see that the normal commute on Lux, the traditional ferry, is 3.3 kilos CO2 per passenger, and with Nova we have a 0.3 kilo CO2. So that's a 90 to 95% decrease in carbon dioxide emissions. Looking into the pure energy as well, because we talked quite a bit of energy in the beginning, and here we're comparing the work done, meaning the passengers that we have been transporting. So energy consumption per passenger kilometers. Lux, the traditional ferries, using 1.4 kilowatt hours per passenger kilometer, where we, in our boat, use 0.4 kilowatt hours per passenger kilometers. So this is even if you have the benefit of scale on a big boat, but we are still much more efficient in this one. So what does this mean for the hospitality? So we've been doing some cases to see how does this translate in for a hospitality resort or something for a commute. So the case we've been using is a 10 nautical mile distance. So that's 18 kilometers, roughly, a bit more than 10 miles. And the numbers that we're getting on that when we're doing the numbers, comparing with the existing ferries, is we get a profit margin with the same ticket price, with above 50%. We're saving 475 liters of diesel per year. And we're also reducing the operational cost quite significant. And here, in this case, we see a CO2 reduction of 98% in that case. And of course, new technology has some sort of investment, but we see a return on investment in less than 3 years. And going through more details, how does this look in more details? So we've done this table, and we will share the presentation with you as well. So CO2, shoreline erosion, ecosystem impact, and oil leaks, that's something we are not really contributing with, but the existing fleet, having internal combustion engines, have oil, they have a problem with leakage, they are burning fossil fuel and so on. And we see that we're actually beating the traditional ferries on most of these different points. And then when it comes to the experience, riding above the waves, it's a much nicer experience, and there's no problem with the sea, with the waves. So, big saving on the vessels. But what I've showed you so far has been kind of buses on water. So for you to understand the different styles of interiors we can do, I'm ending up this presentation with some of the designs that we will have in the vessels that we're delivering now, both to the Neom and to the Maldives and so on. So we're doing more like a lounge for the high end, where you can sit in private and travel in style, in an air-conditioned and a silent environment. So it's really like a business lounge, I would say. And of course, having your luggage with you and so on. And then we have, if you need to transport a bit more people, but still in what we call a business class, we have a version with a bit more seats, but only 20 passengers in this one. Still plenty of room for your luggage, and you'll be able to travel in comfort. So these are pictures of these designs as well. So back to the key benefits that we've been talking about. We see that we already can prove that we are lowering the cost. And it's actually a premium service. So there is a way to actually charge more for the ticket for the transfer, because this might be on the same level as the rest of your resort. With the speed and the comfort on board, the guest experience is very, very good and on par with the resort as well. And of course, we're not doing anything harmful for the planet, and we have a minimal carbon footprint. And with the extra benefit of with the foiling, not creating any wakes that are contributing to the shoreline erosion. So with that, I'm opening up for any questions, if you have anything, or if you would like to contribute with something, Mikael.
We're looking forward to having the boat here on Spree in Berlin. I guess you guys are Berlin-based, maybe, or yeah? So we don't have a firm timeline for that, but hopefully next year it will be in traffic here. Yeah, yeah, we will send out news when we have a more firm timeline, and we're happy to have you on board.
Yeah, well. So the comment was that we have someone in the audience living close by the Funk House.
Yeah.
So we're looking forward to have you on board as well.
Thank you.
So with that, I say thank you and have a nice afternoon.
Thanks.